Welcome students, I am Dr. James D'Souza, Assistant Professor, St. Xavier's College, Mapsa, Goa. Today's program is for Bachelor of Science, third year, subject Botany, semester 5, course code BOC 107, course title Microbiology and Plant Pathology. Title of the unit Plant Disease Management. Module name Integrated Pest Management System. Coming to outline, in this module we'll be discussing about plant disease. Then we will be discussing about integrated pest management, that is IPM system for plant disease management. At the end of this module, student will be able to explain what is plant disease. They will be able to describe integrated pest management IPM system for plant disease management. Coming to introduction. Now before the introduction, we need to know what is a plant disease. Now plant disease involves three components: plant host, pathogen and environment. When these three components interact, what we get is plant disease. Now IPM system is a one control measure to control the plant disease. Under this system, careful consideration of all the available plant protective methods and their integration of appropriate measures are done. All the disimpairments of the normal state of the host plant, their interruption, modification of vital functions are stopped by using this implementation of IPM. Now, if you consider a disease pyramid, there are three components, that is host, pathogen and environment. Under this system, there are conditions which will favor the host, discourage the pathogen and modify the environment. Thus, to protect the plant from disease, one has to tackle all these three parameters at same time. Now, why IPM systems are required? Earlier system used strategies, that is ecosystem-based strategies that focuses on long-term prevention of pathogen or their damage through combination of techniques such as biological control, habit manipulation, modification of cultural practices, and use of resistance variety. Besides this, there are chemical pesticides which are known to impact human health and ecosystem. One example is DDT, a pesticide which can accumulate in fatty tissues of animal and it affects bird reproduction. There are already more than 500 species which has become resistant to this pesticide. So there is need to develop a new system to control a plant disease which includes more than one parameters. Now, this IPM is a such system which include biological, mechanical and chemical parameters, and all these three parameters, they work together to control the plant disease. Now, how does it work? There are three approaches. First one is mechanical. In mechanical approach, pathogen is limited. The excess of pathogen is limited to the food and water from the host. The example is Japanese beetle trap. Next, we have biological approach. Here, introduction of natural enemy of pathogen. That is, example, ladybug feeds on the aphids. Now, this ladybug is introduced to control the population of aphids. Then third, we have chemicals. Okay, here the pesticides are used, which has minimal risk associated with their use. And using this least amount of chemical, that will be very effective. Now, what are the goals of IPM system? The first one, to eliminate or reduce the amount of initial inoculum of pathogen, to increase the resistance of the host, to delay the onset of the disease, and to check or control the secondary spread of infection. Now, coming to the procedure, we have three main steps. That is, first one is management of the host. Under that, the first one is procedure to improve the plant vigor or the plant strength. Now, when we say a plant strength, what we are doing, we are improving the plant trait which will help to give resistance to the plant and increase the yield. Second one, we have induction of disease resistance. Third, breeding of disease resistance. Next, we have management of pathogen. Under this, the first, eradication or reduction of inoculum, then applications of chemicals on the plant surface to discourage the pathogen, prevention through legislation, that is by quarantine method. Now here, suppose one country, there is one variety of pathogen, say, take example of potato, which is highly infected. Now this is being stopped to carried or transported to the other regions or other country. In such a way, we prevent the spread of pathogen. Next, we have management of environment. Here, the crop management, soil management, that is soil fertility, fumigation, and irrigation, that is water management, is done. Now we will discuss and we will see how this IPM system is used to manage the disease in annual crops, okay, and to control the common diseases like late blight, brown rot, ring rot, leaf roll of potato. Now, what are the steps? The first, stalks, tubers should be free from any disease. Next, field should be clean from previous year's debris, and tubers, if any, where pathogen may be perpetuated for the next season. Next, crop rotation should be done using the legumes crops. Plants should be protected from disease through foliar spray at regular interval. Make the soil loose by plowing and exposing it to sunlight for few days in the summer month, or fumigate the soils with chemicals. Now we will see how this IPM system is used to manage disease in perennial crops, mostly the orchards, fruit orchards. Okay, here nursery stock tuber should be fumigated, that is to eradicate the nematode if they are present. Growing field should be fumigated before planting to eradicate any pathogen like armillaria and phytophthora. Now this armillaria is a soil-based pathogen which causes root rot. Now if we doesn't clean a soil or fumigate the soil properly, or we don't clean the previous year's debris, this armillaria pathogen, they survive in the wood debris and the soil. So during next season, suppose if we start growing crops, this with the appearance of new root, the infection start. Now phytophthora is another soil-based pathogen which is known to cause root rot and stem rot at the basal portion. Next, proper drainage in the field should be maintained. Stock should be not grown in the old field near the old plants that may carry different pathogens like canker. Now this canker is a disease which is caused by bacterial pathogen. The species name is Xanthomonas. Now this Xanthomonas, it affects citrus family. It affects leaf, fruit, stem, almost all the parts of this citrus family. Now field should be properly irrigated and supplemented by fertilizers. Plants should be sprayed at regular interval at 10 to 14 days. Now, what are the basic tools which we need for IPM system? The first one is cultural practices. Under this, agronomic practices that are designed to optimize the growing condition. Anything that improves the crop competitive age will increase the tolerance of pathogen, and it will also help to increase the yield. Next, we have mechanical practices. Here, mostly all the machineries and other tools are used to control the spread of pathogen. Under biological practices, here manipulation of biological organism to control pathogen is done. Here, the release of predators are done. Here, some insects, some microorganism will be released, which will in turn kill the pathogen. Next, we have natural control practices. Here, enhancement of naturally occurring pathogen management method is done, basically allowing to grow other beneficial insect which will harm the pathogen and which will actually improve the uh, performance of the host. Coming to the limitation of IPM system. Now, the first one, the individuals or the farmers using this system must be educated about the option. Now, what are the options? Like, we need to educate them and we need to tell them this particular method involves three approaches, that is biological, mechanical and chemical. And all these three approaches, they work together at the same time. Also, the result will depend upon different environmental conditions. The next takes more time to initiate. It must be closely monitored for best result. Natural enemies of the pest may become pests themselves, and the success of this technique depends upon weather, climatic conditions. These are my references. Thank you very much.